Hi, welcome to the Gemara on Chafal Amud Bet. We're starting 4 lines up from the bottom of the Amud with a new section from the Mishnah. B'Roshei Chodeshim B'Chol Shel Moed Korin Arba'a. That on Rosh Chodesh and Chol Moed we have 4 aliyot, 4 people are called up to read from the Torah. Ba'minei Ula Barav Mirava. Ula Barav had a question for Rava. He asked him a question. Parashat Rosh Chodesh Ketzad Korin Ota. How should we read the reading for Rosh Chodesh? Tzav et b'nei Yisrael va'amarta lehem et korbani lachmi. The first paragraph of the reading for Rosh Chodesh, which the second verse of it is this verse about commanding b'nei Yisrael. So how are we going to break up this paragraph? Tehavyan tamanya psuke. It is 8 psukim long. Heichina avid. So what should we do? And the rest of the question, Ula Barav is going to explain why he thinks it's so difficult to break up this section. To understand this, you need to know a few things. First of all, you need to be able to picture the reading for Rosh Chodesh, which I've given you down here. So you can see this first paragraph, Tzav et b'nei Yisrael, that's the notable beginning of that paragraph. And then you have the second paragraph, which begins with Yom HaShabbat. And then you have the third paragraph, Roshei Chodeshechem. And you can tell that these are paragraphs because of these letters, Tucha, Stuma, but these indicate parsha breaks, not parsha in the sense of Breshit, Noach, etc., but parsha in the sense of paragraphs. So this is what breaks up the paragraphs. And this first paragraph, you can see, has 8 psukim. And Ula Barav feels that it's going to be very problematic to break this up. Over the course of explaining why this is problematic, Ula Barav is going to give you the rules about Torah reading, which you may not have previously known, and he seems to assume that you know them. I'm going to ask you to work with these rules a little bit, so I've put all the rules in this teal color to bring them to your attention. So, Heichina Avid, what are we going to do with the section which is 8 psukim long? Nikre trei tlata tlata. Tlata tlata psukim. Maybe the first 2 readers can each read 3 psukim. Pashulahu trei. But then there will be 2 verses left over in that first parasha. Ve'ein mishayrin b'parasha pachot mishlosha psukim. And we have a rule that you're not allowed to leave over in a parsha fewer than 3 psukim. That's not allowed. So, new suggestion, Nikre arba'a arba'a. Maybe we could read 4 and 4, meaning the first reader reads 4 and the second reader reads 4. Pashulahu shiva. But then there are 7 verses left in total for the reading. Uviyom HaShabbat, this again is a quote, kicks off the second paragraph. So Uviyom HaShabbat Havyan Trei, that paragraph is only 2 psukim long. Over Roshei Chodeshechem, and the third paragraph that starts with Roshei Chodeshechem, Havyan Chamisha, is 5 psukim long. Heichina Avid, so what should we do? Nikre Trei Meha V'chad Mehanach. So maybe you can read 2 from this one and 1 from that one, meaning the 2 of the paragraph of Yom HaShabbat, and then 1 from the paragraph of Roshei Chodeshechem. But if you were going to say that, here's the problem. Ein matchilin b'parasha pachot mishlosha psukim. You can't begin a paragraph, start reading from a paragraph and read fewer than 3 verses. That's not going to work to take just 1 from the beginning of Roshei Chodeshechem. So here's a new suggestion. Likrei trei meha v'tzlata mehach. So take 2 from here and 3 from there, meaning the 2 of the paragraph of Yom HaShabbat, and then 3 from the next paragraph of Roshei Chodeshechem. Pashulahu trei. But then there's only going to be 2 psukim left over in total to the whole reading. So that he assumes is not going to work, to have only 2 psukim left over, and we'll see why in a minute. So that's the end of Ula Barav's question. He seems to have shown that there's not a good way to divide all the psukim in the reading for Rosh Chodesh into 4 sections that are going to work. Amarlo, so Rava says back to him, Zolo Shamati. I never heard anything about this, meaning you're right, I don't really know the halacha here. Kiyotze ba Shamati, but I've heard a halacha that's related to this. Ditznan, as we learn in a Mishnah, B'yom harishon Bereshit v'yihi rakia. This is a Mishnah from Masechet Ta'anit, and the Mishnah is talking about, as Rashi explains, we'll look at it inside later on. But this Mishnah is talking about the Ma'amadot, about the readings for the groups of Kohanim, or the Kohanim were broken up into Ma'amadot, into stations. They would have duty, they would sort of serve in the temple different times of the year, and then the rest of the people, the rest of the men of the Jewish people, were also divided into groups who served on a rotating basis. They kind of corresponded with the Kohanim, and they had sort of prayer services that went along with the service of the Kohanim. So a Ma'amad is basically just a special type of prayer service, and 3 people would be called to the Torah for Aliyot for this reading. So that first day of the Ma'amadot, meaning the first day of the week, Sunday, they were reading the first 2 paragraphs of the Torah, starting with Bereshit bara Elokim and Vayehi Rakia. V'tani ala, and a Breita was taught about this, meaning about this Mishnah. Bereshit b'shnayim, Yehi Rakia be'echad. The paragraph of Bereshit was read by 2 people, broken into 2 aliyot, and Yehi Rakia was read by 1 person. V'havinan ba, and they attacked this, they questioned this. Bishama Yehi Rakia be'echad makes sense to say that we read the paragraph of Yehi Rakia just with one reader, 1 aliyah. It's Tzlat Psukei Havu, because it's 3 psukim long. Ella Bereshit b'shnayim. But to say that we read Bereshit, the paragraph of Bereshit, with 2 readers, Chamisha Psukei Havu. That paragraph is 5 psukim altogether. B'tanya hakareh b'Torah lo yivchor mishlosha psukim. And we have a Breita that teaches us that one who reads Torah can't read fewer than 3 psukim in 1 aliyah. So breaking that paragraph of Bereshit into 2 sections, if it's only 5 psukim long, is not going to work with this rule. We're going to pause here because now you have the basic rules of Torah reading, of breaking Torah reading into aliyot, highlighted in this teal color. And what I'd like you to do is to look at this reading for Rosh Chodesh, get comfortable with it, and try to answer Ula Bar Rav's question. Given all of these rules, what suggestions could you come up with for how to break it up? First of all, make sure you understand the difficulties. Make sure you understand what Ula Bar Rav is saying about how hard it is to break this into 4 aliyot, given these sort of mathematical rules that apply, and see if you can come up with a creative suggestion or 2 as to how you might do this. You can feel free to cheat by reading on in the Gemara. The Gemara eventually solves the problem. Or you can try to figure out what we do nowadays. If you are ever present for Torah reading on Rosh Chodesh, you might already know the answer. And if not, just see what you can figure out about how we read, how we would break this up, again, following all the rules. Okay, we'll stop there.